Before we get into today's episode, a note on our content. While we strive to provide a show that can be listened to by as many people as possible, this episode in particular was created for adult audiences only. We advise listeners' discretion as we cover...
Honestly, it's because of my husband's f***ing potty mouth. It might be a lot to take in, so if you have any children running around or listening, consider yourself warned.
Oh, like you're some saint.
Oh no, here we go again.
I just find it funny that Connor always has to put disclosures on only your episodes.
Always apologizing for Jeremy. It's Jeremy's fault. Jeremy with the potty mouth. Get back, witch!
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife. But after what you just said, I'm not even sure I want to be that anymore.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Unmentionables. I'm your host, Connor, and joining me on the line, recently married, are my good friends, Jess and Jer. I figured I couldn't just have one of you on if we're going to do wedding talk, because now you are...
I have way too much FOMO anyways. I was like, let's hop on.
Here comes the bride. Ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Yeah, Jess, first time on. You said you were a little bit nervous, but we're really excited to have you. Listeners, if you don't know, I was actually friends with Jessica long before Jeremy. I thought he was really annoying and wouldn't stand the test of time, but
You and everyone else.
Like a good Cancer, here he is.
The best Cancer. That's my friends. Always the best Cancer. Yeah, we
got married.
we wanted to make sure that, well, I wanted to make sure that she was the real deal before I invited her on the cast. And 9 years of dating wasn't enough, but I guess
It has not been 9.
it's been 9 years.
No, last October was 8.
No,
Yes.
20. You're right. When is she wrong? Never. Oh, fuck. I've been telling everybody fucking 9.
Well, to me, it sounds like the honeymoon is over, but the wedding was fantastic.
It was over like 7 years ago, dog. What are you fucking talking about?
7-year itch.
We don't even get a honeymoon. We've been riddled with all these losers that we call friends. We had a wedding before ours in my cousin, and then a wedding less than a month after ours. We've got 2 next year, and then 1 in 2026.
And then like 2 years, it's going to be all baby showers.
Yeah, excellent planning on your part.
Hey, we planned this well in advance. Not thinking that, obviously the great group that we have, we're always going to, make time, move mountains. But yeah, it definitely cuts into our plans to go to Aruba. That's for sure.
I was thinking more like, I don't know, Japan would be cool.
Well, before we get too far off the rails, and I have an hour and a half of editing to do, let's talk about September 21st, Night to Remember.
A night to remember. That was on purpose too, by the way. We were trying to think of a wedding date, and I knew I wanted it to be on a Saturday because that is probably the best day for weddings, in my opinion. September seemed like a good month in Grand Junction just because it's pretty hot every other month before that. So I was like, I wonder what the 21st falls on because of the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. And it so happened to be on a Saturday. And I was like, boom, it's fate. So.
Just how does that song go?
Do you remember the
21st night of September? We compliment each other.
I'm pretty sure I sounded better anyways.
Well, that was beautiful. And we had a really good time. I mean, I just speak for myself and Alexa, but I think that everybody who attended your guys' wedding would have called it a textbook A+ wedding.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, shit's expensive and stressful.
It's stressful in its own right. Like, because we're so low maintenance, it kind of creates more stress.
I wouldn't call myself low maintenance.
You're trapping me. This is entrapment. It's me and Jess are both kind of take it as it comes. It makes decision making kind of difficult because we're so laid back. So a lot of the things that when you think of Bridezilla, they don't apply to our situation because Jess looks at me and I look at her about what color the napkins should be, which, that's obviously we didn't even have napkins. I don't think it was more of like a wipe your mouth on your shirt collar, but
they said, do you care about that? And I said, nobody's going to remember the napkins.
Right. But, poor example, but every time there became a decision, we were both kind of on the same, well, I don't care, what do you think? Which, name drop, by the way, holy shit, Charlie Bauer.
Charlie Bauer, if you're listening, you are the best.
Charlie, we've known for years, and she has been working with her sister.
They do an incredible job. They've outgrown themselves in like this area. They do a lot of like Moab weddings and Aspen weddings. It's really, really beautiful. If you guys have a chance, go check out their Instagram, their Facebook. They have lots of beautiful pictures that they post. They do a lot of beautiful events.
She took a lot of the guesswork out of it.
So I speak for a lot of the unmarried people who I talked to at your wedding, and all of us kind of hopeless romantics who want a nice picket fence wedding. We were a little bit surprised at how much has to go into it. So I'm glad that you guys had somebody, because if I were to just start planning my own thing, I'm pretty sure the wedding just wouldn't happen, because there is way more going on than you originally think.
A big portion of do I need a wedding planner is size. When you're talking like a couple dozen good friends, that's something that you can do in your backyard, or you can do at a small venue, park, whatever. But when you're talking like 160, 170 people, the food is bigger, the drinks are bigger, you need more space, more tables, more linens. Having someone who not only like is giving you the guidance, but for a year prior to that is giving you timelines on every little step. Okay, by this month, X month, you have to have your photographer take her trial pictures, and then you need to get your caterer done by this day. And
it does take a lot of stress off of it. So if you are wanting to like put it all on your shoulders as a couple, I mean, it was just it was nice. It was relaxing. We're looking at wedding pictures today, actually, because we just recently got them back, and we're like, wow, like we should do that again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for another party.
All of our favorite people are here in one place. It was just, wow. It was so cool.
Day of, like, were you stressed at all?
I was a little stressed getting ready, just because.
Okay, good, because I'm glad. I didn't want to be the only one. I was fucking stressed.
All you had to do is like shit, shower, make sure.
I didn't drink too much.
Yeah, you went mini golfing.
I did go mini golfing. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, it was a great day. Exactly. Yeah, now that I look back at it.
Yeah, I was like, you guys got a school bus to pick you up. There's a bunch of people at your place. No. I don't know. We were on a very strict timeline. I was texting in the girls group chat, and I'm like, all right, everybody has to be at the venue at this time. We can carpool, so that way we're not taking very many cars there, so that way they're not left at the venue. And then the makeup artist will get here at this time. Hair lady will get here at this time. Don't worry, I already got 3 bottles of mimosas in the suite, so we don't have to worry about drink. My mom's bringing croissants for us so we don't actually die. So it's stressful, because then the time starts like, it goes by fast but slow. At that point, I wanted to leave that room. It was getting hot. I was getting stressed. And then we got to it, and we didn't have very much time for me at all.
Why me?
I'm a bride. But no, they were both working on me at the same time.
What?
I know.
This is why our podcast is explicit.
I know. But it was a lot. But then everyone leaves, and the wedding planner comes up, and she's like, all right, it's time for your first look. In the wedding planning world, the first look is like a super big deal. But I've seen Jeremy 1,000 times in my lifetime. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. He's never seen me in my wedding getup, I suppose. So it's like this big moment. The photographer's getting all ready, and then everyone leaves the room, and it's just you. I was with a million people the whole day, talking to me, asking me questions. How do you feel? Are you feeling stressed? You feeling it yet? You feeling it yet, Mr. Krabs? I'm like, no. And then everyone left the room, and I was like, oh shit, we're about to get married for sure. It's wild.
Yeah, it was no big deal. I didn't cry at all.
You're the first to cry.
Oh my God, we'll get to that. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, yeah.
90% of the wedding photos are of him with his fingers in his eyes because he's been crying so much.
Large man, baby.
Plenty of pictures. I'm all puffed up, man. I definitely Well, it's beautiful. How could you not?
Boys' side of the day was not nearly as calculated as that. It started with me and the best man, Grant, getting up at whatever, 5, 6 in the morning to drive an hour east to pick up donuts because you guys did donuts instead of cake. Which what was the decision behind that?
I don't really fuck with cake, honestly.
We didn't do like the whole feeding it to each other thing. And I think this was a calculated move by Jess. She's been planning for years. I don't like cake. I don't like cake. Knowing that on this day, I would have shoved fucking cake all on her face.
You can't really get like super pissed in front of
You would be
girl.
fucking pissed.
Well, you can't like actively get super
That's
pissed.
true, yeah.
Don't they have like cake-proof makeup these days? Like,
It was pretty waterproof, actually. Michelle Troy, if you're listening, you did an amazing job. Survived all my tears as well.
Was it cake-proof though?
I don't know. It wasn't
apparently it
calculated.
didn't need to
We
be.
didn't need
Here's
to
the thing
find
about
out.
that
Exactly.
moment is that you see videos of it online and like you can tell when the bride is pissed. You can't like get ultra pissed though. It can't be like a fight at home because you're in front of like what 150 of your wedding guests. You have to like, you're so silly. You just shoved a whole bunch of cake in my face, you little goofy.
White knuckled fist.
It's all in my hair and on my dress that I paid a lot of money for. That's awesome. I don't know. There might be people out there that like thinks that's a really sweet moment. It's not that I didn't want that moment. I simply don't like cake. And I didn't even get a donut at my own wedding.
She got more than a donut in the face that night.
Oh my God.
You're ridiculous.
Fucking glazed.
So Grant and I go pick up the donuts and we drop them off at the venue. And then him and I are so exhausted because, of course, everybody had been up super late the night before. You guys are off mini golfing or getting ready to go to breakfast. And him and I are like, dude, do you think Jeremy would be mad if we just like go back to the house and crash? And so while you guys are off mini golfing and eating breakfast, Grant and I just like went and took like a 4-hour nap.
Great play. Because what we did was super fucking boring. We went to breakfast, drove over to Bananas Fun Park, fucked up some mini golf. At that point, we made it back to my parents' house. And I think that's when you and Grant moseyed on over after your little power hour. Yeah, you guys saved the day on the donuts for sure.
Oh, honestly, it was fine. Grant drove and I just kind of sat there and played on my phone. I just didn't want him doing it by himself. Also, I was so exhausted that I ended up tipping the guy like $100 or $150 on the donuts. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was all excited because my best friends are getting married. And I'm like, you know what? Like, screw an extra wedding gift. I'm going to give it to the donut guy.
Last fucking thing those guys needed was more money. I paid $600 for those donuts. That donut shop gives out free shots. I think they're doing okay if they can fit into their budget free liquor.
It was a little stressful because I have like everything like written down on this little website Charlie put together for us. Like, okay, this person's showing up this time. The only thing we were slightly unsure of was if the donuts would be able to be a thing, which dessert's kind of important at a wedding. I mean, I don't typically am like, yeah, where's the dessert? You know?
How many things did you put on my plate to do?
Like 3.
Yeah, I think it was donuts. Yeah, I think donuts was on my plate. And you see how fucking fast I passed that on to my guys? Jess is like, okay, babe, can you just make sure that the bus picks you guys up and also deal with the donuts? And I'm like, of course. Hey, Grant, Connor, will you guys go get fucking 200 donuts at 5 in the morning for me? And they're like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Grant was on donut duty.
Which, may I add, happily did so. And I will.
And then he had our great friend Connor to accompany him, which was very kind.
Yes.
Well, I did it for me mostly because I wanted to.
Dude, did you sneak a little donut? Did you try one before?
Well, your husband, we call him like, hey, man, we're on our way back. Just so you know, like they look really good. And he's like, okay, just make sure you don't eat any. We're like, oh, we would never do that for sure.
Shoveling donuts in out the window.
Didn't even sneak it. I hand over fist was like shoving it in my mouth like over the trash can.
The first time I talked with you after you got the donuts, you both said, hey, sorry, we each had 2 donuts. And I'm like,
2?
I don't give a fuck. You guys just drove and got these donuts. Like, I don't care.
Well, I'm in charge of the editing, so there's no way anybody's ever going to know that.
Damn it.
All right. Fast forward. You guys do the first look, and you did your vows privately. I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, and we're going to reenact them for you today. Jess, you have your book?
No. Oh man, that was
Jess opted out of doing them publicly, and I think that she was totally right on doing them privately because it was really tough getting through them.
It was hard. We procrastinated on them as we do most things, and it wasn't before rehearsal. It was the day before rehearsal dinner.
I think you get your most raw emotion as it approaches. If I write this a year in advance, how will I truly feel about you?
I don't know. I wrote my speech for your guys' rehearsal dinner like 2.5 years ago.
Did you really?
It's like eventually they're going to get married, and then I'm going to write this just for them.
I wouldn't put it past him, dude. He had a whole performance lined out.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know, perhaps.
I don't think so.
I really, really love you guys like a lot.
Aww.
But no, I wrote it like 2 days in advance.
Yeah, that's what I fucking thought.
Wrote it on the plane ride over, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Raw emotion. That's as real as it gets. So we're both sitting in our game room, which is not very big at all. And we have our desks, and Grant's vacuuming the living room, and we are writing our vows to each other. Jeremy kept it very, I wouldn't say traditional, but it was very serious, I felt like. And then I used a little bit more like personal touch in there. So it was a good mix. I had to go first because I just wanted to get it not over with, but
you definitely played it right. I was already fucked up before I started. I said your name and I stopped and cried.
No, I did the same exact thing. I said, Jeremy. And then I looked up at you. You're already bawling your eyes out, of course. Awesome. So then it was really hard. I had to take a lot of breaks. Yeah. I had to take a lot of breaks. I was like, okay, we need to pause on the words because I can't physically speak them. But it was a very cool moment.
I thought it was kind of weird because you guys said you wanted to do it privately, but you did it privately outside with like 50 people staring at you while you did it. Just out of earshot.
When we were out there, it was just the 2 photographer ladies that were staring at us. I'm not going to lie to you. I was so hyperfixated, just tunnel vision on my little book and on Jess. And in that moment that I didn't see you guys saunter over from the bar until you guys were 20 feet from us. So I'm speaking at this point. She had finished and I'm reading, and about halfway through, I'm like, in my head, in the moment, look up and the surrounding area, see you guys just standing there, hand on hip, like, oh, did it mess with my mojo and take me out of the moment? Not even for a second.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. A lot of emotion, but then we kind of like, I don't know, after that I already felt a lot better. I feel like that was one of the things, maybe not nervous, but obviously just excited to read them to you and hear yours. I was more excited to hear yours than I was to read mine.
Yeah, it's almost as cool as all the money that we received. It's going to be a down payment on a Hummer. So close second.
After you guys delivered your vows, kind of walk me through. We had a bit of a transition period where we all had to get into places, and then fast forward a little bit to the actual ceremony.
We have 2 awesome friends that weren't a part of the wedding party, but we had very, very unique roles for the day of. Their names are Jordan, or JB as we call him, and Ryan.
Yeah, so we had them stationed along the aisle. Me and our fantastic friend Zach, who was actually the one marrying us. We walk down, we chug a beer, throw the beer. The job of the beer bitches was to give us 2 of their 5 beers, and we circled around the willing guests, tossing beers as they walked down the aisle.
They weren't there on rehearsal either, and the beer bitches killed it.
It was a whole choreographed bit, and I mean, it's a natural movement for them, passing beers to people. I didn't doubt him for a moment.
I was a little worried they'd overthrow and hit like old Grammy in the head with a full cold Coors Light. That was a little bit of a yeah.
Yeah, mountains were blue that
But
day.
they did a great job. And Jeremy walks down first, and then you tell him about what you experienced.
Standing there crying. Then I had the pleasure of standing there looking at duos of gorgeous human beings walking down, greatest friends a guy could ever have. Having such a tight-knit group where everyone's so comfortable around each other that it doesn't matter who you're paired up with. Watching everyone walk down, I'm getting hugs from everyone, kisses from more people than I imagined. It was almost like in slow-mo, just seeing all these great friends walking towards me.
Jess, how did you feel about coming down the aisle
really
and your like fiance is just already just red in the face from tears? Like you had to know that was coming, right?
I don't cry for no reason. Yeah, there's few things that get me, and big moments, sentimental times, close friends and family, and then like your Pixar animated films are like my go-to cries. And
catch him at the end of Coco. He's a fucking mess.
Holy shit, they're singing. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't hold back either. I'm not ashamed of it. It's a sweet moment, and
I know that he's a big teddy bear, but it was kind of chaos because I watch all my friends walk down and they're like, stay out of the way. Like you don't want them to see you. And I'm like, well, I don't get to see all like the fun theatrics, like right before everyone gets to walk down with the beer bandoliers and like passing out beers. Like I didn't really get to catch any of that. And then the doors close. They close the doors really fast. And I'm like, oh shit, what the hell? My dad and I just took this god awful green tea shot. It was from a mix. It was no Connor green tea shot. It was horrible. And in my head, I'm like, is this really that big of a deal? And the wedding planner's like fluffing my dress like crazy. And like the lady that was helping with the photo booth is helping her. She trips, falls on the floor while she's trying to get to the door to open it in time. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? And she doesn't answer me. She just opens the door. And then the wedding planner was all, go. And I'm like, oh shit. So I was like, Dad, let's go. And we're all like, whoa. And I remembered there's steps down to the while you're walking. And of course I'm in heels for the ceremony only. And so I'm like trying to focus, like, okay, make sure you don't look like a dummy walking in these heels, all eyes on you sort of thing. Everyone's standing up. I'm like, oh God. Look down, see Jeremy. He's a mess. I'm like, awesome. Look at everyone else. They're all smiling, like looking at me with googly eyes. I'm like, oh, look at all of them. And then the wedding planner told my dad and I, we had to take a pause and like we like looked at each other really quick, and then we started walking down. And then of course it was a little emotional hug between my dad and I. My dad, like Jeremy, is also a big fucking baby and was crying pretty much the entire night as well. So there's a really cute picture of him and I hugging while he's crying his eyes out, and I'm just smiling, giving him a hug. I didn't cry walking down the aisle. That was
my job.
You're bad bitch, Jess.
I was so excited. Yeah, that was his job. So, and then I made sure to bend my knees. My mom gave me that piece of advice. She said, bend your knees or you're going to pass out. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Everyone just makes it seem like such a big deal. And it is. It's your wedding day. But I don't know. I was way overfilled with excitement, especially after the private vows were out of the way. I'm like, let's get this shit going. Like, it's on. And then we had our greatest best buddy, Zach Ross, officiate our wedding. He bought this nice leather book to look very official while he was reading it off. He had like, I don't know, 5 or 6 copies of it just in case.
You never know.
Misplaced it. Yeah, you never know, which I very much appreciated, but he killed it. It was awesome. We had the crowd be the ring bearers. So I had the wedding planner tape Jeremy and I's rings underneath random chairs. We kept it in like the first couple of rows so that way we could make sure it was like our family members and not just like, oh, there's a friend of a friend that's bringing us our rings. That would have been fine too, but we wanted to make sure it was a family member that was our ring bearer. So that was a fun moment. We got to pause and like kind of take a breath and watch people search for our expensive rings, which my side of the family could not find the rings very quickly. And I was like, oh no.
10 minutes before that, you guys had passed out a bunch of beers and got everybody in the crowd drunk. So
we didn't calculate this into our plans previous. My ring was found by my dear Aunt Susie. Jess's ring took like 4 times the amount of time to be found because for some reason they put it it was underneath the eldest crickety old who was it under? I think it was your grandma's great aunt twice removed.
My cousin JD finally said enough, goes out of his row, grabbed the ring, and that was awesome because he traveled quite a long ways to come enjoy our day with us, and I was glad that it was him because he was so excited, you could tell, to be our ring bearer. So that was a very cool moment. And then we got married.
Yep, that's it.
Party on, right?
We learned from the wonderful clerk's office that we can have unlimited signatures on our marriage license. So we ran to the bar with the entire wedding party, got a drink, hung out, ate some apps.
And Colorado is so relaxed. Like you could have, your dog's paw print on the marriage license and it is perfectly legal.
But what, Leo wasn't down?
It wasn't allowed. We'd have to be passing out lint rollers. It would have been a whole thing.
But yeah, that was also another fun thing, just getting away, because taking a breath after all of the ceremony and the private vows and all of that was a very cool moment I hope for everyone, but so I'm really glad we got to go and do that. And then of course, one of the photographers stayed back. We had 2 photographers that day, which was cool. So one of the photographers stayed back and captured the cocktail hour between all the guests, which Jeremy and I thought it was really important. And we stressed to the photographer beforehand that, the intimate pictures of like the bride and groom are obviously necessary for your wedding day. We want a couple of those. But what was important to us was candid shots of our guests because, as people age, not everyone's going to be here forever. And I don't know. It's fun seeing how much fun everyone else is having, or it looks like they were having fun. I really hope they did.
Food was great. We had a taco bar. Thought that was fitting. Green chili pork. We had carne asada. We had some chicken, nachos. Fantastic.
It being your own wedding is that you get to go first. So I felt really bad for all the tables in the back because obviously the DJ like releases them. So that way there's not like a line the whole time and we get to eat first. And
you guys had a bunch of people come up and do speeches. I heard from multiple people who were going to give speeches that they were a little bit nervous because I gave such a good speech the night before during the rehearsal dinner, which of course made me feel amazing. And then one by one, each one of them just delivered beautiful, amazing, personal, funny, intimate speeches, one after the other.
You definitely set the standard. My dad spoke with me afterwards and said, I've never been to a wedding where all the speeches were great. He's like, usually there's like 1 or 2 that are solid, and then the rest are kind of like, nah, just kind of filler noise while you eat. But yeah, we had...
Katie Lynn went first. And
she was shaking before that. She prepped a lot about it. She was really involved and she wanted it to be good.
She is my oldest friend and my best friend. Fittingly so, she was my maid of honor. She is the funniest person I know, probably. And it's not even like comedian style. She's just so awkward and makes everything so funny unintentionally. And her speech had so much of her personality in it.
She did phenomenally, by the way.
It was probably my favorite. No offense, Connor, but I am a little bit biased. She even like told the crowd, she's like, sorry, I don't know if you guys can see me shaking. But she wasn't speaking to them. She was like talking to herself, but it worked so well. Grant went after Katie, which was...
Yeah, so he writes his speech. He's cranked up. He's getting in the mood. He writes his speech, and then I'm playing video games, and he comes and grabs me and says, hey, buddy, can you already crying. I could see he's, hey, can you do you mind if I read my speech to you and you make sure that it's good? And he starts his speech. He can't get 3 words in. He's like, can you read it for me? And I was like, of course I'll read your speech that you're going to make to us. And I'm reading it, and he's sitting on our bed, palms on his face, just hunched over, sobbing while I'm reading it. He looks up and he's like, well, was it good? And I'm like, dude, it was great. So heartfelt, so personable. His word choice blew me away, because he's not the most eloquent of beings, but he poured his heart into it, and that it just, it transcends words. Fantastic.
When he gave the speech at the actual wedding, he killed it too,
He
right?
delivered,
Phenomenal job. On a day-to-day basis, the kid is stone cold, super tough. It was really cool to see that side of our little best buddy. My dad spoke, completely ad-libbed it, didn't have a single thing written down. I was a little nervous for that because he is a crybaby, as I mentioned before, thought he was gonna, get super emotional, which is sweet in its own way, but I didn't even think he'd be able to make it through, and not a beat was missed. He fucking killed it and kept it short and sweet, mentioned a few personal touches, and of course everyone wants to hear their dad say how proud they are of them, so he of course said that. And
Mikey was fantastic. He did so good as the future husband, or now the husband of his only child, his only daughter. Him saying, hey, I'm proud of Jess, I'm proud of my son, that I'm a part of their family, and that he couldn't have asked for someone better. That meant the most. And it was so funny, because at the end of this very emotional speech, he looks at us and he's like, let's raise a glass. And he kind of leans in, and me and Jess both instinctively stand up, thinking that we're about to give this awesome hug and have this moment. And he reaches over and he grabs his beer that's on our table, and he turns around all fast. Then afterwards, he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, I thought you were coming in for a fucking hug. He's like, no, I'm getting my beer. I'm like, oh yeah, I should have done. Danny was next. Danny is a close friend. He lives in Florida. He is the type that
will kill anything.
Just the guy just puts on a show. Extremely well spoken, extremely organized. He had his whole book. He put his glasses on. He absolutely delivered. Yeah. Holy shit, though. Like, the way he just works words. Like, there's different kinds of speeches, right? There's like the cute, silly, there's the super, super emotional, and then there's like the I've got the read receipts. And he just brought all this history of how he met Jess and how he met me, and his first initial thoughts of me, and what was going on in his brain when he thought, hey, what's down the road for us? And he just laid down the law.
He's the first one to always say too. He was always so excited for us anytime something big happened, like we purchased our first home or we got engaged. He always says, I love your guys' love. Like, I will die a happy man if I find something that you guys have. And that makes me so happy that, obviously Jeremy and I know how much we love each other, but to have other people say how they notice it, even though we're not the most touchy-feely people in the world either. Well, I'm not. Jeremy is a physical touch person.
I love touching.
I love touching. But Danny has always been like in our corner, always. So it was awesome to have him speak, and he traveled a good bit to be a part of our day as well.
Paul's speech was so great. Jeremy's dad, he starts his speech off by saying, all right, everybody, so you see that guy way in the back? That was my best man at my wedding, and he gave a super long speech, and I'm not going to do that. And then proceeds to give a super long speech.
Yeah, he just kept going. Yeah, it was not even close. He spoke from the heart, and he told us tonight, actually, that he has given lots of speeches before at weddings, and he's never given speeches that had to follow such great speeches. He's the type that the guy could talk to anybody, definitely demands your attention, in an awesome, endearing way, or if that's in an annoying Paul way. Regardless, the dude talks and delivered as well.
Whoever's listening is just enthralled by what he says. He can paint a picture of a situation or a story. And the way he talked about how he would sometimes see Jess's legs going in the window or whatever when she was like sneaking over to your guys' house.
So if that was a Vegas bet, oh my God, I would have made so much money. I knew he was going to bring that up. The one time the guy chooses to read his paper and drink his coffee on the front porch is when Jess is crawling out of my bedroom in high school. And of course he had to bring this up. And as soon as he started the conversation, me and Jess both look at each other like, okay, here it comes. 160 people. I look at Mikey like, here it comes. But yeah, he's one of my best friends. And I knew that he was just going to absolutely kill it.
Yeah, it was great. Speeches were awesome.
And then we danced and Jeremy did the worm and hurt himself and cried a little more.
No one tells you about that you were doing the worm. Things shift. Things shift when you're down there.
Lots of great pictures came from that as well.
Incoming cry number 14. Yeah. But yeah, we got after it. Our DJ was awesome.
That was probably another, all of it was my favorite. And I keep saying that. But dancing, I felt like we didn't have enough time to dance. And we spent a lot of time dancing.
Kind of wrapping things up with a nice bow, as you know I like to do. What would be something that you guys can reflect on about your wedding that maybe is like a lesson learned? See, they can talk about themselves for an hour and 15 minutes, but the second I ask for anything of substance, they're like, crickets.
Ladies first.
Keep the people you love close. That would be my number one thing. We'll never have everyone together in the same place. A lot of our friends have moved. A lot of our family members will grow old. And it was incredible to have everyone in one place to celebrate us. You can't really put it into words. It was my favorite time.
That was really well said.
I would say, I agree. I would say don't sweat small things. A lot of things go into planning an event like this. You have help, but it's always like a lot of stress that adds up. And I think that applies to anything in life. The stress is not warranted. That was absolutely the case with our day. And even the smallest things in life that, aren't applying to a 160 person party. If you add that stress to it, it's only going to age you and it's only going to make your big moment, whatever that may be, a little bit harder. You might breathe easier afterwards, but you're just making it harder to breathe before that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And make sure that you guys have friends that are really good at giving speeches.
That's a huge part of it too. By the way, massive shout outs to Max and Katie, Kaden and Hannah, Jake and Rue. All great fucking friends. My beautiful, wonderful, awesome sister, Katrine.
We forgot to say that Marcos helped with the flowers. That was an important role.
You just did. Good job. I love you, Marco. Danny, John, Jason, all friends that I've had for a long, long time. My best man, Grant, our wonderful officiant minister, Zach. And then, of course, our host and one of my best friends, Connor, and his wonderful, wonderful girl, Lekka. We really couldn't have made the day happen without the structure that we have with our closest friends. It wouldn't have ever turned out the same.
It was just awesome.
Connor, what do you think?
Oh man,
did you enjoy it?
Oh, your guys' wedding was fantastic. It was the first time that I've been in a wedding. I've always had dreams of being in people's weddings and being somebody that people look to as one of their best friends. It's something that I've struggled with in the past, going through my own development and trying to work out how to be a good person, how to be a better person. Took me a long time to get to where I'm at now. And then having people as wonderful as you, surrounded by the wonderful people that were in your wedding party and your families and our mutual friends and all of that, it just kind of reaffirmed that, hey, I'm doing the right thing. If these people like me and if these people want me to share their special day, that means that I'm on the right track. And I had a wonderful time. Alexa had a wonderful time, and appreciate you spending a shit ton of money on making a fun party for us all. But I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. Thanks again for Jess for guest starring. If you like her, make sure to
sound off in the comments.
Shoot a like or a comment on the Spotify. Otherwise, we will never have her on again.
I mean, I liked her. All right, bye, Jess. Kick her.
And to Jeremy as well, always giving us a good laugh and a good perspective as well. And with that being said, that's going to wrap us up for the cast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Unmentionables Cast, your weekly bite-sized dose of nonsense. If you like the show, tell your friends. And if you didn't, well, recommend us to your adversaries and we'll torture them on your behalf. If you want to get in contact with us, send all questions, comments, concerns, issues, problems, and suggestions to theunmentionablescast@gmail.com. The show will always be free, but if you'd like to support us directly, you can do so at patreon.com/theunmentionables. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, thumbs up, or ring a bell to help pump up those juicy stats for us, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank God, I have to pee so bad.